Today, we're going to be talking about 8 mindset blocks that are keeping your nervous system stuck in the fight or flight state. If you feel like you're constantly on alert, like you can just never properly exhale, if your body feels tense even on a good day, if rest feels uncomfortable, or if slowing down makes you feel anxious, I want to emphasize that you're not experiencing this because there's something wrong with you, but there are patterns in the way that you're thinking that are signaling danger to your brain all day long. If you're new to this channel, I'm Dr. Bisleen Attli. I'm a naturopathic doctor, and I've worked with thousands of people on nervous system regulation, mental health, and performance. And what I've learned with working from thousands of people is that you cannot heal a nervous system that's being triggered by your own internal dialogue. Today, I'm breaking down 8 of the most common mindset blocks that I see in my practice. Some of them are obvious, and some of them might surprise you. And most importantly, once you see them, you cannot unsee them. So let's get started. And of course, I got my handy dandy clipboard here with my pen. We're gonna go through these one by one. So this is probably the most number one common mindset block that I see, is a mindset block of, I can't relax until everything is done. And I know that you're probably going to relate to this to some extent. The amount of times that I see in my practice, especially with women, I see this so often with women who feel like they need to get everything on their to-do list done, that the laundry needs to be done, the dishes need to be done, like everything needs to be done. And only once everything is done, they're going to be able to rest. But as we know, things always need to get done. Like once the laundry is done, you're going to have the dishes to do, and then the laundry is going to need to be done again at some point. If we constantly tell ourselves that we cannot rest until things on our to-do list are completed, what we start to signal to our brain is that rest is danger and that productivity is safety. And this is such a dangerous place to be in because we know that our nervous system needs rest. It needs us to slow down. It needs us to take a freaking break so that we can really restore ourselves and support ourselves and rebuild our energy. But if we subconsciously believe that the only way for us to feel safe is for us to be productive, then we're going to constantly keep ourselves in a productive state. And what's so funny about this is sometimes you might not even have stuff to do and you just find things to do. I remember in the past before when I would complete my to-do list, I would literally just keep adding more things to the to-do list because instead of just being like, nope, I'm done for the day, I used to have to feel like I need to just continue adding things, more to do, more to do, more to do, even if I was already just done my task for the day, because I constantly and deeply felt this need that I needed to be productive in order to truly feel safe within myself. So really take a step back and ask yourself, is this you? Do you during the workday, because I used to be so guilty of this, during the workday, I literally would tell myself that I am not going to pee until I get this done. Like, are you kidding me? Like, and I would sit there sometimes and hold my pee in for like 30 minutes because I would be like, I can't pee until I get this task done. And now I think about some of these moments and I'm just like, oh my goodness, like my bladder was ready to burst. And I was just like, nope, I got to get this task done. And only then am I going to give myself permission to get up and pee. Like, it should not be like that. You shouldn't be holding back a basic need of yours to eat food, to drink water, to go pee, to the bathroom, just because you haven't gotten something done on your to-do list. That's not how it should work. You should be meeting your body's needs. You should be giving yourself rest regardless of what you have gotten done or not done. Rest isn't something that's optional, just like sleep. We know that if you don't have 2 days of sleep, like you will literally go psychotic. Okay, your brain will literally be pushed into psychosis, like literally not having 2 days of sleep. If you were to stay awake for like 48, 36 hours, you would start to experience some of those symptoms. And that's because sleep is something that our body needs. Just the same way our body needs water and food to survive, we need sleep. Same thing goes with rest. We need rest. If we want to be able to get up, to tackle our to-do list, to get the things that we need to get done, we need to have rest. And this needs to be a mindset block that you really need to let go of, because the more that you believe that productivity equals safety, the more that you're going to constantly keep yourself in a dysregulated fight or flight state. Because let's be honest, the to-do list will never get done. There's always going to be things that need to be done. And so what you're saying is that you're basically never going to give yourself rest because the to-do list is never going to be done. So start rewiring this and start purposefully giving yourself breaks, especially when you feel like you haven't gotten the thing that you needed to get done, but there's like a need your body is screaming for you to fulfill in the moment. Do it in those moments, because in those moments you're rewiring the belief that it's okay we didn't get things that we need to get done. That's okay, but I'm still going to give my brain and body the rest and the break that it deserves, because me not doing the thing doesn't mean that I don't get rest. So this is a huge one, and I'm so passionate about rewiring this belief because I was honestly stuck in this belief for years and years and years. And it took me such a long time to really rewire myself out of it. And again, the best thing that you can do is to start giving yourself those breaks during the day, because the more that you do that, the more that you teach your brain and body that rest is safe. It's simply a practice. And the more that you practice it, the more that it becomes a new belief. Mindset block number 2, another really big one, is that if I don't do it, then it won't get done right. And the issue with this is that we never ask for help. We never ask for support. And instead, we carry the burden and the pressure of everything because we believe that we're the only ones that can do it in a specific way. And again, very toxic belief, as you can see, because we're not meant to live this life alone. We're not meant to go through this world, this earth alone, all by ourselves. We, as humans, love connection. We crave connection. And for us to truly thrive, we need to feel like we're part of a community, that we have help and support around us. And so what I really want to encourage you to do is, when you start to feel like you're the only one that can do this, literally think about all the things that you do during the day and where you can ask for help and support. One of my patients from last week, this is something that she really struggled with, and she opened up and said, like, I don't take help from anybody. Like, I'll only take it from my parents when they're visiting, and her parents lived in a different country, so her parents weren't always available to support her. And so what I encouraged her to do, I was like, I want you, and make this be like a fun game for yourself, just look at how much support you can get during the day with all the things. And it was so funny because in our session, we just started laughing because we were just like, she's just going to end up at one point just sitting on the sofa, getting grapes fed to her and someone blowing a fan on her. You know, when you see in those like Greek mythology movies, like the goddesses just sitting on the chair while everything is being done for them. I was like, yes, that's exactly where we're going to get you to, where you're going to be sitting and just eating grapes on the chair. And so this in a way could literally become a fun game for you just to look at. What are the areas in your life that you feel like you're struggling with? And there's how much support can you get in each one of these areas, and just have fun with it. And what starts to happen is, as you start to get support, your brain starts to rewire the belief that support can be safe and we don't have to do things all on our own. Now, the other big, resistance that I get whenever I share this is a lot of people are like, yeah, but if I tell my husband to do this, then they're not going to do the dishes right, or my kids aren't going to do this right. And it's just like, yeah, we have to be okay with that. That maybe the floor is not swept and mopped exactly how you want it, or the laundry is folded a little messy, but it's folded and it's there. We have to be okay with sometimes the imperfect action of other people. And it's okay if it's not to the same standard that you would want it, but the thing is that it's done. And you really have to decide what are the standards that are worth fighting for, right? So maybe if you're a business owner, you're like, yeah, certain standards and things like I need to have in my business, but it's just like the floor is being mopped a certain way. Maybe that's not a standard that I necessarily really need to fight for, unless of course like the royal family from England is like visiting your house, and then you need to make sure that the floors are mopped in a specific way, especially for them. Okay, but other than that, those are some standards that we can essentially let go of. And what really happens in this belief is that we start to believe that control equals safety and trust equals unsafety. It's not safe to trust other people. So we want to rewire that with your brain. And that looks like starting to open up, starting to ask for help and support. This is another big one that I've also struggled with as well. I've struggled with a lot of these. This is why my nervous system was stuck in an extremely dysregulated state for a very, very long time. And even to this day still, especially in my business, there can be things that I just take on all on my own. And one of my actual big goals for this year is to start expanding my business and start hiring a team of people who can actually support me, because I'm just like, I cannot sustain this for so long, doing everything all on my own by myself. So that's my goal for this year. And this is exactly how we go about rewiring these mindset blocks. Is once you are just like, you're like, okay, this one totally resonates with me. The way that you rewire your mindset blocks is you need to start showing up differently. You need to start showing up in the opposite way. So if you feel like it's difficult for you to get support, then you slowly open yourself up to support by asking other people for support. And yes, it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be hard, but you know what else is going to happen? Over time, once you start getting the support, you're going to have more time for yourself, more time for rest, for breaks, and just enjoying life instead of feeling like you're carrying the world's pressure and weight on your shoulders. And you're going to be so much happier because of it. And most importantly, your nervous system is going to be so much happier because of it. Mindset block number 3 is that if I slow down, then I will lose momentum. Big one. I see this a lot in ambitious people, the fear that if you slow down, then you're going to lose all of the momentum that you've built. And of course, I've struggled with this one as well. Slowing down has always been such a difficult thing for me. Even to this day, I struggle with it. This is probably the number one mindset block that I struggle with. And what starts to happen, and I've seen this time and time again in my practice, is that people start to develop this belief that if they keep moving, then they won't break. Because there is this fear that if you stop or if you slow down, bad things are going to happen. You're going to lose everything. And what's really happening is that underneath all of this is that there's a sense of emptiness, there's unprocessed emotions, and there's just like fear of facing the self in silence. And when we are forced to do that, we're forced to face everything that's underneath us. But if we keep moving, if we don't slow down, we don't ever have to face that deep, deep emptiness, those deep shadow things that we have just been avoiding because we're so caught up on just doing the day-to-day and just going so fast and moving forward. And I'm telling you, this is something big that I've been working on lately, just slowing down, turning more internal, and not having to use speed and fast as a way to distract myself from all of this. Everything works out so much better. You're able to actually move 100 times faster because you weren't afraid to slow down, to look internally. And also what's really amazing about this too is that sometimes we're moving at such a fast pace that we don't really take a step back to ask ourselves, is this really aligned with us and who we are? And when we can slow down and really look inwards, we can start to get more clarity to see if these things around us are truly in our best interests, are truly in alignment with us and who we are. And so it's very, very important that if you feel like you're constantly rushing, start slowing down. Start giving yourself moments to turn inwards, to be with you and to face what is underneath, because then you won't constantly feel like you have this pressure to be on the go and do, because that is going to keep you stuck in a dysregulated state. Okay, mindset block number 4. I feel like I'm already starting to sweat because I'm like getting so passionate about this and getting heated. So mindset block number 4 is that I have to prove myself. Big subconscious one. So this might not be something that you like say to yourself, but it's the way that you live. You live in this energy of feeling like you need to prove. You dress in a way where you feel like you need to prove yourself. You show up on an everyday basis and take action with this underlying sense that you constantly need to prove yourself to other people. And what's dangerous about this? It's dangerous because then what you are telling yourself subconsciously is that your worth is conditional, that you're only worthy if you do X, Y, Z. I remember for the longest time when I was growing up, because this is something I really struggled with, is on this bus back home from school, I would sit on the bus and I would just think about all the good things that I did in the day so that I would have some really good news to share with my parents, whether it was me joining this new club or, doing something great in sports or me getting a great mark back on a test. And that is how I would feel like I was good enough, is I felt like I constantly have to prove my worth. And so all day, every single day on the bus ride home, this is what I would think of. And even if it was the smallest thing, I would be so excited to tell them because I would feel like I need to prove my worth. And only if I prove myself am I then good enough. And so that has been a really big one that I've had to learn to rewire. And I feel like I'm pretty good at that now, where honestly, I don't even really share much. When people ask me how things are going, I'm like, they're going great. And I don't feel like I need to prove myself. And now I feel like I'm doing things from a place of true internal alignment and what feels good to me versus thinking about what other people are really thinking about me in that moment. And so the other issue here, what happens is that when we feel like we constantly have to prove our worth, we end up pursuing goals from a place of threat. And when we pursue goals from a place of threat, success feels stressful. And this is why sometimes, I remember in the past, whenever I would try to achieve my goals, it would stress me out so much. And I wouldn't even feel good about achieving any of my goals just because of the amount of stress that it took to get there. And that's because, again, I was pursuing goals from a state of fight or flight, from a state of threat instead of a place of alignment. And it wasn't until I let go of the belief that I have to prove myself that I was able to then start pursuing things from a state of true passion and alignment and purpose, not because I felt like I needed to prove myself to someone. Mindset block number 5 is that something bad is going to happen. So tell me if you relate to this, because I grew up always hearing that Bisleen, don't laugh so much. You're going to be crying in the next like 20 minutes. And what would happen? I would be crying in the next 20 minutes. And so for the longest time, what happened is that I got that belief ingrained in me that if something good is happening in my life, then something bad is going to happen. Or just in general, just like waiting for something bad to happen, right? It's like you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop. I hear that all the time with my patients, right? I'm just like waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, when is it going to drop? When is it going to drop? When is it going to drop? And as you can see, when you're in this like, when is it going to drop? When is it going to drop type energy, what's happening? You're keeping yourself stuck in fight or flight. Always. You're keeping yourself stuck because your nervous system's whole goal is to help you survive. Your nervous system doesn't think in good or bad or any of that. Your nervous system simply thinks in the term of like safe, unsafe, and survival. That's all it cares about. So if you're in this like state of just like, oh my God, waiting for the other shoe to drop, you're keeping your nervous system in the stress state because your nervous system is constantly in survival. It's constantly looking out, right? And it's so interesting too, when we feel like we're just waiting for the other shoe to drop, the other shoe always drops because what you believe is what happens. Whatever you expect is what is going to happen. So if you're expecting the other shoe to drop, the other shoe is going to drop, and then 10 more shoes are going to drop after that. Let's be honest. That's how it always works, okay? Your brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. So even if there are no shoes dropping, even if there is no threat, if we're constantly anticipating threat, if we're constantly feeling like something bad is going to happen, even just the anticipation of that threat and that imaginatory threat is going to keep us in the stress state. So this is something you really, really want to watch out for. And the best antidote, the absolute best antidote to this is to bring yourself back into the present moment. As much as possible, bringing your energy back to what you are doing now, finding the gratitude, the good in the now. It's not about toxic positivity, but it's simply bringing yourself back into the beauty of the present moment, because that's where you have the most power and control. And technically, always in the present moment, right now, in this very moment, everything's always okay. Mindset block number 6 is the block of I am behind. And what's similar to this is feeling like you never have enough time. Another really big one that I hear. I used to say this all the time. Oh my God, there's never enough time. And you know, it was really when I started my business initially, I used to always be, this was about 5 years ago now, I used to be always constantly in this extreme stress state. And my brother actually clocked me in on this and checked me once. And he's just like, why are you so stressed out? He's like, you do the things anyways. Stop being so freaking stressed about it all the time. And of course, he's my older brother, so he didn't say in the nicest way, but that's why I love him, because he tells me things how I need to hear them. And that really checked me. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, I complain about being stressed all the time. And then my mom said it in a nicer way. She was like, yeah, you do. But it was so true. And it's because I just constantly felt like I was always behind, and I needed to, get to this unrealistic standard that I had set for myself, because I was like, I started my business 6 months ago. I should have been a millionaire by now. And it's like, ha, 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 ha. Like, what are you doing? Like, why is that timeline so unrealistic? And then also just checking myself, like, I didn't even get into this for the money. It was about making an impact. Like, what are we even doing right now? So when you feel like you're constantly behind, it just creates constant urgency. And that constant urgency becomes your new baseline. So no matter what you do, you're just stuck in this fight or flight state. Your nervous system feels the best when you are okay with exactly where you are right now. Exactly where you are right now. And trust me, I know how difficult this is to feel. Not just because, I've seen my patients go through the experience of it, but even myself. Last year was probably one of the worst years of my life. In every single area of my life, things went upside down. Things turned upside down. And I got to this place of not accepting my reality. And it was so hard for me to just sit in the fact that this is how old I am, and this is where I'm in life right now, and I just have to be okay with it, because this is the reality of things. And I thought my life was going to go in a different direction, and now it's gone in a completely different direction. And it took me many months of tears and crying and complaining to my friends and being sad, of finally getting to a place of just pure acceptance of where I'm at now. And my nervous system also feels so good because of it, because I'm no longer fighting the truth that's in front of me. I am okay with it. And so what's very important, if you just bring this down to a day-to-day level too, is starting to be realistic about how much time you actually have during the day. Stop overfilling and overbooking your schedule when you know you only have 2 hours to do tasks. Why are you listing out 15 things you need to do in those 2 hours? Because you and I both know you don't got that much time. So very important that you be realistic with the time that you have. You learn to accept where you are in life right now, because I promise you, everything's working out for your best. Everything's working out for you exactly as it should. But the more that you resist what is in front of you, the more that you keep yourself stuck in the wrong place and you keep yourself stuck in fight or flight. And so I always want you to remember, you are always on time for the life that is meant for you. Ingrain that in your head. If this is the belief that you struggle with the most, write this out. Put it somewhere up as a reminder that you are always on time for the life that is meant for you. Mindset block number 7, let's bring that back a little bit, is that my needs are not a priority. Really, really big one. So what ends up happening is that when you have that subconscious belief that your needs are not a priority, self-abandonment becomes part of surviving for you. Your nervous system learns that the only way for you to survive is if you abandon yourself. And if you're constantly abandoning yourself and not meeting your needs, you're going to keep yourself stuck in a fight or flight state, because we know that part of healthy nervous system regulation is meeting your needs. It's giving your body water when it needs water. It's giving yourself rest when you need rest. It's giving yourself the right nutrients and food when you need it. But if you believe that your needs aren't a priority, then you're never going to do that. And your nervous system is constantly going to be in that stressed out state. You need to stop abandoning yourself to, support other people, to make other people's lives comfortable. Think about that realistically in your life. How many times in your life are you constantly abandoning yourself just to meet the needs of other people? And I know, depending on what position of life that you're in, for example, as a parent, naturally, you are going to have to sacrifice some of your needs depending on how much you love your kids. So sometimes the roles of life that you're in, you will naturally have to do that, but you don't have to always do that, right? So it's like when your kids are asleep, that is time to pour into you and yourself. So you don't feel like you're just constantly abandoning yourself. You have to pour into your own cup. You have to teach your nervous system that it is safe to meet your needs. And the only way to teach your nervous system that it's safe to meet your needs is if you actually practice that. If you practice meeting your needs, because your nervous system learns that, okay, we're someone who meets our needs. We're not just someone who abandons ourselves. Because when you continuously abandon yourself, your nervous system reads it as, I am not safe enough to be cared for. Seriously. That I'm not safe enough to be cared for. And that's not at all how you want to live life, because let's be honest, when your needs are constantly in the back burner, it builds so much resentment and anger at everybody else around you. So this is something that you need to rewire. And when you do that, it's going to make you feel better. It's also going to improve all the relationships in your life. The very last mindset block is that I have to be strong. And what this signals to our brain subconsciously is that vulnerability is unsafe. And here's the big problem with this. The problem with this is that connection and softness activate safety. We know as a fact that our nervous system needs other people. We as humans need other people. We need other connections. We're not meant to live this life alone. I mentioned this before. And we need to make sure that we're surrounding ourselves with a strong community. I cannot even begin to tell you, especially, as I mentioned before, last year was just such an awful year for me. My community came clutch, okay? Like, I am so extremely grateful for the community that I had in my life to help me through everything that I went through last year. And I don't think I could have made it through the things that I went through last year if it wasn't for my strong network and community of, girlfriends, my family, who was there to help support me through it all. And that's why it's so important that you stop believing that you need to be so strong, because the other issue with feeling like you need to be strong is that you never give yourself time to process your emotions and tune into what's happening within you. One of the first things that I teach all of my patients in my practice is how to process your emotions effectively. Because if you can't process your emotions effectively, it's all going to stay within your body. It doesn't go anywhere. We think that if we're not processing our emotions, like we're just ignoring our emotions, they disappear into thin air, but they don't. They stay in your body. They stay in your nervous system. Your nervous system remembers everything. And this is why it's so important that we learn how to process emotions as they come up. We learn how to be vulnerable and to put ourselves out there in maybe ways that we haven't, and to try to get that help and support and not think that we need to always be so strong. And who said that strength means hiding emotions? I truly think that true strength is being vulnerable, is being able to open yourself up to the world, to people around you. Like, that is true power. It doesn't take courage to push your emotions away. It doesn't take courage to suppress everything that you're feeling. It takes courage to open up. It takes courage to really, let people into your world so they can help you. That is true courage and that's true strength. So I want you to challenge yourself and start asking yourself throughout this week, when you feel like you are stressed or anxious and you're trying to be better on your own, but it's not working, who's someone you can call up? Can you go get a coffee date? Can you go have dinner with a friend? And open up actually about how you're feeling. Because trying to be strong, it's just hurting you more at the end of the day, and you don't have to be strong. Reach out to your community. If you don't feel like you have a community to reach out to, start building a community for yourself. I have, over the past few years, have made so many new friends because I'm constantly putting myself in different environments, and I'm never afraid to be the first one to take that initiative and step. So if you feel like you don't maybe have people that you can really turn to, be the first person to take that step to ask someone for dinner or to go on a walk or to hang out at a coffee shop. You need to be the first one to do that sometimes. But what's amazing is if you're not afraid to be the first one to do that, you can form some beautiful friendships and relationships in your life. And I have some of the best friendships that I've made in my life because I was the first one to reach out and to initiate and to kind of put in that effort until the other person started reciprocating. Okay, so please build that community. Please don't believe that you need to be strong. Life is so much more beautiful when we feel like we have people that we can rely on. It just makes life so much more fun. And I truly think that that is the purpose of living, to come together as a community to support each other and becoming the best versions of ourselves. I hope that this video was helpful. And most importantly, I really hope that it's opened your eyes up to a different way of taking care of your nervous system. Because the way that you speak to yourself, what you believe about yourself, your life, what you deserve, all of these things are going to either keep you in that fight or flight state, or they're going to get you into a state of calm. So I want you to actively go through and think about which one of these mindset blocks resonated the most with you and start taking action steps. And the best thing you can do, just do the opposite of it, okay? Do the opposite. If, for example, you have the mindset block, you need to prove yourself, ask yourself, what are the things you're doing to prove yourself? And then do the opposite of those things. If you feel like you have the mindset block of I can't relax until it's done, start forcing yourself to take breaks and relax during the day, even if you've gotten nothing done. And the more that you can do the opposite of these blocks, the more that you're going to give your brain and body the chance to rewrite this belief and see a new way of living. And if you want one-on-one support to actually uncover your limiting beliefs, rewrite these mindset blocks, and to reset your nervous system state, I would encourage you to book a free discovery call with me so that we can chat about what your personalized nervous system reset plan looks like.